Hi, welcome to week 7. We're halfway through the semester almost. This week you're going to finish up writing your argument papers. You're going to work on editing them and proofreading them, making sure the sentences are clear and correct and concise. You're going to make sure your evidence is good and your citations are correct and that you're making a good argument, a good case for your side of the debate. What I want to focus on in this little intro video, though, is documenting sources. And just as a reminder, I'm going to be teaching MLA format in this class, but if you have been trained with APA format and would like to use it, as long as you use it consistently, you can use that, that's fine. But we're going to focus on MLA. So I'm going to ask you this week to read Chapter 6 in your textbook. What you see on your screen is an online version of our textbook. And you'll see that Chapter 6 is called Writing a Synthesis and Documenting Sources. We are not going to be writing a synthesis simply because we don't have time. We have enough papers on our plate already. But we are going to be documenting our sources. So definitely do read through the chapter so you can read about citing and documenting sources using MLA style, which includes in-text citations, parenthetical citations, and the works cited list, which is at the end. You're going to read about paraphrasing, which is taking what they say and putting it all in your own words, not just changing a word or two, not moving stuff around, but really transforming that into your own words. Paraphrasing, very powerful to be able to paraphrase well. Sorry. You're going to learn about quoting, which needs to be exactly like the original, character for character. I'll go over that. And I want to focus today on this combination of paraphrase and direct quotation, which is the most common way of integrating source material into your papers. And it's a good skill to learn. So in order to do that, I've put together a little exercise that I'm going to go through. Here's an excerpt from an article called Crack in the Box by Pete Hamill. And here are some lines from a research paper that cites this article. The lines have errors, though, and in going through the errors, I'm hoping that you will have a better idea of what I'm looking for when I talk about integrating source material. It's you need a lot of attention to detail. So let's start at the beginning. So we're going to assume that this is the first time we've mentioned the article in my research paper, so it is correct to use the first and last name of your author, Pete Hamill. That's correct. Pete Hamill argues in Crack in the Box. Oops, wait a second. I've got a title of an article here. I need to always format my titles. So if you have a title that is a part of something bigger, an article that's part of a book, or an article that's in a newspaper or a magazine or a journal, or a chapter in a book, or a song on an album, or an episode of a TV show, that smaller piece those titles are always going to be in quotation marks. The container piece, the bigger piece, the book, the TV show, the movie, those titles we put in italics. So Pete Hamill argues in Crack in the Box that television dominates the lives of its addicts. And I have the page number. So this is correct down here. I put the period after the parenthetical citation. Notice that there's not the author's last name here like is normal for MLA format. Author's last name, space, page number. Anyone know why? It's because I have Hamill already at the beginning here. I don't need to put it in two places. So I can just put the page number. That's satisfactory. So Pete Hamill argues in Crack in the Box that television dominates the lives of its addicts. Okay, here's something else. Let's find the original. Here it is. Television, like drugs, dominates the lives of its addicts. A little bit different. Close, right? We've left out like drugs because I don't need that to make my point in my paper. So when you leave words out of the middle of a quotation, it's conventional to use an ellipses. That indicates that there are some words missing. Okay? You will not see ellipses at the beginning or at the end of quotations, just in the middle. Okay? Oops. One more thing on this. There's a lot going on in this one sentence. When you're punctuating the place where your words, Pete Hamill argues in Crack in the Box that, and the source material's words, quote, touch, you want to do that as if the quotation mark wasn't there. So looking at this, I would not have a random capital T in the middle of a sentence. Pete Hamill argues in Crack in the Box that capital T television, that makes no sense. It would be a lowercase, right? So I would need to change that to a lowercase t. However, in the original, it's a capital. So I need to indicate that I've changed it by putting it in block quotes, square brackets rather, in square brackets. Okay. Now, of course, this is a quotation, so I'll put those quotation marks back. Now it's correct. Pete Hamill argues in Crack in the Box in quotations that, quote, bracket T, lowercase t bracket, television, ellipses, dominates the lives of its addicts. Whew, that's a lot. Let's get this out of here so we can bring this up. Next. Hamill quite rightly points out that none of these abrupt mood changes is earned. They are attained as easily as popping a pill. So before I get to the quote, I see that I have Hamill twice. Remember, I don't need that, so I'm going to get rid of this one here. Okay, let's look at the quote. None of these abrupt mood changes is earned. They are attained as easily as popping a pill. Looks pretty good, right? There's one error. Anybody see the error in the quote? Earned is in italics up here. If it's in italics in the source material, you need to put it in italics in your text. Okay, so every character has to be the same if you're doing a direct quotation. Hamill quite rightly points out that, and again, I would punctuate this as if that quotation mark was not there, and that's good. I would not have a random. It's not a capital, so it's good. And here, it's not capital, so that works. The rest of that is correct. Let's try the next one. Later, Hamill goes so far as to say that television works on the same level imaginatively and intellectually as psychoactive drugs do. Television works on the same imaginative and intellectual level as psychoactive drugs. Ooh, it's close, but not quite, right? So I think this person was thinking that she would paraphrase it. There's no quotation marks here. But this is not an adequate paraphrase. She would be guilty of plagiarism and she would receive an F for that paper. So you want to make sure that you're staying as far away from plagiarism as you can. This is so close to the original that I would just go ahead, television works on the same, and make it a direct quotation. Psychoactive drugs, and get rid of the do. Okay, that's better. Now, so the quote now is correct. That's correct. I have Hamill here. I don't have it here. Just as an example, if I had, for some reason, the author, if I don't name Hamill, I would need to put Hamill out here. The author goes so far to say that. Now let's look at this little interchange here again. If you have an attributive tag that says that, comments that, argues that, you don't put a comma after the word that. Okay? If it was says or argues or points out without the word that, then you would put the comma. Okay? But here you don't. If you have no comma, because you have the word that, you don't need a capital. So no comma, no capital. So this is correct. Let's check it out in the original. Television works, lowercase t there, lowercase t here, I'm good. The rest of it works. Is this making sense so far? I hope so. All right, next one, almost done. Pete Hamill says, okay, now remember this is not the first time I've mentioned him in our text, so I only need to say Hamill. Hamill says, okay, now I have an attributive tag, but I don't have the word that. He doesn't say that, so here I would need to put a comma. Hamill says, comma, if I have a comma, I need a capital. So this works. But let's check it out in the original. Let's see, the drug plague, where is that one here? Here we go. So this one is this guy here. I'm running out of colors. The drug plague also coincides with the unspoken assumption of most television shows, capital L, life should be easy. Okay, so that the quotation is correct. I have a comma, I need a capital, and it's a capital in the original, so the rest of it works. Just to show you, actually no, just to show you, if I had written instead says that, after the word that, no comma. If I have no comma, there should be no capital. And if I changed it from the original, like I do here, I would have to put a square brackets around that to indicate that I've changed it. Make sense? Okay, last one. Hamill comments that for the junkie, the self is absolutely isolated, with no desire for choice. So that's that last sentence there. I'm running out of cool colors. So for the junkie, capital F, I've left out the world is reduced to him or her and the needle, pipe, or vial. So that's the ellipses, that works. That all works. This is correct, period, after the parenthetical citation. I have Hamill here in the text, so I don't need it in the in-text citation. How about this little interchange here? Comments that, no comma, no capital. But if I check it here, it's a capital in the original, which means I've changed it, so this should be a square bracketed lowercase f. That's a lot. You guys get it all? Definitely read the book. Check out the Purdue OWL online. Ask me if you have any questions at all. And hopefully this was a little bit helpful. Good luck and have a great week. Take care.